So since my last video, I was working on some kind of drama slop style thing, but not really drama slop because I was looking at the cultural aspect of where we are as a society with pertaining to that current drama slop. My usual late to the party type of video. And then we ended up bombing Iran in the middle of it. I was literally recording COD footage as we bombed Iran. So of course, immediately I had to monitor the situation.
Hey, I'm gonna back out of the game real quick. Saying that we fucking are bombing Iran right now.
Breaking: the Iranian President's Office, Supreme National Security Council building are both alleged to have been targeted. Iran's second missile wave. We're in the second missile wave already. We are missing valuable intel. Oh, hold on. I gotta tell Feather we gotta go. I gotta go Feather. We are monitoring the situation.
Dude, why is nothing loading? Seriously? None of my telegram wasn't updating.
So what started as a 4-day operation turned into a 5-week operation where Trump said, we never said 4 days. Now, according to the Department of War, we were looking at an 8-week operation. I'm sure these numbers are accurate. I'm sure by the time this video posted, we'll be looking at a 4 to 6 month operation. Of course, this is only the official narrative. I would not be surprised if this graduated to boots on the ground combat. We're looking at full-scale war, and I would not hold my breath on it lasting any less than a year. I anticipate this might last 5 to maybe even 8 years. I know we are tired of forever wars in the Middle East, but the Middle East is a very, very different type of culture. There are people who I enjoy watching, Tim Pool, Asmongold, others of the sort, who predict that once you kill enough people, it will lead to the survivors defecting. That is not the case in the Middle East. The reason we get forever wars in the Middle East is because the culture as it is exists in a way that they do not surrender. They are so bound by their faith. They will stare death in the face and not yield whatsoever. And we just took out the equivalent of their Pope, the Ayatollah. And looking at the dichotomy of this, where our leadership, our government wants to push the Iranian people to rebel against their government, wants to push the Iranian people to incite revolution. Again, it's like they just ignored the past 20, 30, 40 years that we spent in the sandbox. These people, even when given the weapons and the training, do not fight for themselves. Those who have the will to fight usually fight for the side we're against. And those who do not have the will to fight, well, you cannot instill the will to fight in someone who does not want to fight. Countless and countless reports from veterans from the Gulf Wars, from, and every sandbox wars, from the GWAT, telling us that these people will drop their weapons when faced with enemy fire and immediately retreat. There's a certain cultural aspect that we in the West just do not understand. And it's why we should just not be there in the first place. There are many people who say that this is what the Iranian people want. They are showing us the protests, the celebration of the Ayatollah's death. However, when you take into account that these are the people who know how to circumvent the Iranian internet blackout, you have what is essentially a survivorship bias. Those who know how to circumvent this blackout are the ones we are seeing. While it is quite possible that the vast majority of the people are in support of the Ayatollah, are in support of an Islamic regime having power within this region. So what you are seeing could quite possibly be the minority opinion from someone who just happens to know Twitter versus the majority opinion from people who don't know how to circumvent Iran's internet blockages. Speaking of Twitter, the amount of fucking boomers getting one-shotted by AI or even worse, video game footage, the amount of ARMA or DCS footage that has been circulating, posted as true news, is baffling. Fucking General Flynn reposting ARMA footage of Iranian jets getting shredded by the Abraham Lincoln, which just didn't fucking happen. It just didn't happen. It was video game footage, and he reposted it saying, God bless the USA, or some shit like that. And these are the people advising the president of the United States of America, one of the most powerful countries in the world. Whoever told this man that this operation will be over in 4 fucking days needs to be fired, needs to be fucking hung for treason, because this is utter bullshit. There's no way we can start conflict with one of the largest countries in the Middle East and end it in 4 fucking days. That's retarded. There is no other way to look at it other than fucking retarded. Not only that, us as the United States, if we would have just had a bombing campaign, just a short bombing campaign over these 4 days, maybe we might have been able to get away with it. But the fact that we involved Israel, the Jews, that everyone in the fucking Middle East hates, they're not going to let that shit go. There is no way that they're going to allow that type of disrespect to happen in their own fucking front yard. Not even their backyard, in their fucking front yard, right in front of them. There's no way that the Iranians, even if it wasn't the Iranians, if it was the Saudi Arabians, if it was any other Muslim country, they would not allow the Jews to disrespect them in that sort of way. There's no way it would last that. But it would not be a 4-day campaign. It's not going to be a 3-week campaign. It's not going to be a 6-week campaign. This is going to go on for months and months and months, and possibly even years and years and years. I would say that I would not be surprised if this conflict went on for another 20 years, just like our previous incursion into fucking Iraq and Afghanistan, except for the fact that we already have other major superpowers aiding this major country. Iran is not like Iraq. Iran is not like Afghanistan. Iran has the support of Russia and China, and Russia is already feeding them military intelligence in the same way that we're feeding the Ukraine's intelligence in the Ukraine-Russian war. So that's a whole different fucking topic that I'm not going to get into at the moment. But at the moment, the U.S. is bitching, and we have no fucking right to bitch because we are single-handedly the reason the Russian-Ukraine war is still going on. Anyway, Russia is feeding Iran military intelligence, aiding them against us. And to be honest, they have every right to do so. Now, I'm not in any way defending Iran. Yes, Iran is funding terrorism in so many other ways. They're funding Hezbollah, they're funding Hamas, they're funding a myriad of other smaller terrorist organizations that are against the US. However, the terrorist organizations of old, the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, are currently being funded by the United States. So how are we any better? Again, I'm not disparaging the United States. I love this country and want it to do better, but we should focus on our own hemisphere rather than the goings-ons of the third world countries on the other side of the fucking world. They are not our problem. If we could pull out of that entire hemisphere, I would not have a fucking issue. We should focus on our own country, on our own hemisphere, on our people, and focus on bringing ourselves up to be the superpower that we can be. Just for a second, imagine if we focused all the energy that we had in the Middle East and diverted that to South and Central America, including Mexico. We could become a grand superpower the world has never seen before. And we could self-sustain without needing to involve ourselves in the affairs of other countries on the other side of the world. But no, instead we are thrust into another forever world at the behest of another nation state the size of New Jersey. A desert New Jersey, if you will. And yes, I see a lot of people stating that this is nothing more than the United States being the attack pit bull of Israel. However, multiple things can be true at the same time. So yes, while I agree, this does benefit Israel the most. Greater Israel is no longer just a conspiracy theory. Greater Israel is no longer just some psyop that people are making up. This is true. This is fact. Israel's written about it. They've talked about it themselves. We are 100% certain Greater Israel is their plan. This is what they're aiming for. And part of Greater Israel involves taking part of Iran. However, the United States being the world superpower that it is, while I don't agree with it, in some way has the obligation to smaller third world nations and smaller third world peoples to help them out in some way or another. When Iran straight up murked 30K of its own people who were protesting, allegedly, the world looked to the United States for aid. And whether or not you think we should help, the vast majority of the world believed we should. And when you are the world's superpower, it is in some ways an obligation to help in such situations. That's what you are the world superpower for. Now, whether you agree or not is a whole different story, but that's just how it is. That is the world we live in. People always say, why is America acting like the police of the world? Well, as the world superpower, the rest of the world kind of expects you to act as some sort of mediating force. Now, as it currently stands, there are a few primary objectives that this administration is really banking on accomplishing and has yet to complete any of them. The primary things to keep in mind are that the administration continues to beg the Iranians to start a revolution, which would help them, and so far they have failed. In fact, a lot of the protests that have been going on are nowhere to be seen, which is understandable because who wants to go out and protest when we're dropping bombs on your entire city? The administration has also been begging the Kurds to try and go in as a tertiary force to help put pressure on the Iranians. We've even offered the Kurds weapons to do so, and they reject it. It seems as if though So we are doing everything in our power to avoid putting troops on the ground, but they've opened Pandora's box. There is no way that we can accomplish what we are aiming to accomplish without reaching that point. Another thing is the administration has been begging the IRGC to defect, to lay down their arms, to surrender. That's also failed. We've come to the point where we're also asking Iranian diplomats around the world to defect to the United States side for money and for post-Iran positions. They will have power in the new Iran that we are trying to build, I guess. So far, none have as well. Now, keeping in mind this short list of possible objectives that we're trying to accomplish, and compare it against this interview with Trump from March 7th, the day before I'm recording this. I'm just going to read down his quotes verbatim, maybe add some notes, but for the most part, keep in mind all those objectives I told you about. One of the first quotes I have here states, "The war with Iran will take however long it takes." When I started recording this video, the Department of War had now quoted 8 weeks. Now we have the president saying however long it takes. Next quote, "Iran is looking to settle the war, but we are not looking to settle." Why wouldn't we be? We've lost American lives. We're dumping millions and millions, probably billions at this point, of taxpayer dollars into this. We haven't really so much as accomplished anything that we're trying to do. There is no revolution going on. There is no uprising of the Iranian people. So what are we doing? What are we doing at this point? We're wasting money and getting absolutely nothing out of it. Furthermore, I don't think the Iranians are actually trying to settle. We killed the equivalent of their pope. They will not be looking to settle anytime soon. If they were looking to settle, as stated in those previous objectives, we would have had people defecting. We would have had people surrendering. Speaking of surrender, like how the fuck is that even supposed to work? Surrender to what? Are they just like, what are they supposed to do? Drop their fucking guns on the ground and look up at a Reaper drone a mile above the fucking ground with their hands up? Like, who are they surrendering to? You need ground forces. You need ground forces to go in if you want total capture of this area, which will not be easy in any way whatsoever. Anyway, moving forward, they suddenly started apologizing to the Middle Eastern states. You can mark that down as a victory for us. I guess they're not going to be shooting at them anymore. They apologize. That's a surrender right there. I call it a surrender. Note, as of now, Iran has not stopped attacking the other Gulf countries. That should say enough. We're not looking at the Kurds going into Iran. We're very friendly with the Kurds. We don't want to make the war any more complex. I have ruled it out. I don't want the Kurds going in. They're willing to go in, but I told them not to. Note, Iranian Kurdish separatist groups have denied plans on attacking Iran. They don't want to go in. We offered them funding and support and weapons, and they do not want to go in. He's straight up fucking lying. I mean, he's always been a fucking liar. I mean, how the draining of that swamp go, huh? Pretty fucking great, didn't it? But that's not the point of this video. And lastly, the map of Iran will probably not look the same when this is all done. This is for Israel. This is the Greater Israel Project. That's it. There's no other way. Look, once he says that, that means they are going to be yielding territory to other states. Who is the only other state that could possibly gain territory in this situation? It's not good. We're not going to put an American state over there in Iran. It's going to be for Israel. You know, when I started this video, I was kind of more in the mindset of, multiple things can be true at the same time. I know I said that previously. Where yes, this could be for Israel, but at the same time, the U.S. has some sort of world obligation as a superpower to help people in need. However, the more news that comes out, the more things I'm looking at, the more my intel source brings things to my attention. I don't believe this is for the Iranian people one bit. The Iranian people were, in a way, our scapegoat, a reason for the U.S. to get involved on behalf of Israel. Taking a look at the safety warning from CENTCOM, issued March 8th to the civilians in Iran. As Iran's terrorist regime blatantly disregards the safety of innocent people, the Iranian regime is using heavily populated civilian areas to conduct military operations, including launching one-way attack drones and ballistic missiles. This dangerous decision risks the lives of all civilians in Iran, since locations used for military purposes lose protected status and could become legitimate military targets under international law. U.S. forces strongly urge civilians in Iran to stay at home. The Iranian regime is knowingly endangering innocent lives. Additionally, Iranian forces are jeopardizing the safety of innocent people through the Middle East by deliberately and indiscriminately targeting civilian airports, hotels, and residential neighborhoods. The U.S. military takes feasible precautions to minimize harm to civilians, but cannot guarantee the civilian safety in or near facilities used by the Iranian regime for military purposes. Unlike the Iranian regime, U.S. forces do not target or intentionally risk the safety of civilians. We confirmed that was our bomb that we dropped on a school, the all-girls school in Iran. Yeah, that was definitely us. We confirmed it too. And now we're going to be targeting airports, hotels, neighborhoods under the guise that the Iranians are using them as a sort of shield. Now, I understand things get kind of fucky in war. We greatly handicapped ourselves when we were in the Middle East the last time. the ROE there undoubtedly had a role in the deaths of many of the US troops there. But there are no ground forces at the moment. We're just dropping bombs and shit. And while yes, there are targets that need to be taken out, putting out a notice to let people basically know that even if you stay home and try to stay out of the way, because supposedly the Iranians are launching missiles from residential areas, your neighborhood could get blown up anyway. Again, if this was for the Iranian people, we'd be doing everything in our power to minimize any sort of civilian casualty. And it just doesn't seem like that's the case. Yes, I understand things can get messy in the fog of war, but it's not a good look. It really is not a good look right now. And a lot of times, war is not just won by military might, which, you know, we definitely could do, but you also have to look at the optics of things. If you win, but everyone sees you as the bad guy, are you still the winner? The entire Middle East currently sees the US as the bad guy. So what are we even doing in the Middle East to begin with? Again, it seems more and more as more things come out, this is all for Israel. And people are already talking like we're the great liberators of the world. Like, oh, and don't forget, Cuba is next. We're liberating Cuba. Yeah, liberation. Let's install a Rothschild bank everywhere. That definitely sounds like freedom to me. Anyway, I'm over it. We'll see where the fuck this goes. As I said, we could literally stop dropping bombs right now. And I don't think it would mean a damn thing. We've pulled ourselves into another conflict that is going to last a very, very long time. And where this goes or how this escalates is anybody's guess at this point.
Wow. Wowzers. Holy crap, man.